Welcome to, it's episode 145 of the thing that I started doing just to give me something to do on Sundays when COVID was happening. So, yes, episode 145 of Quarantiki with Lovecraft Cocktails. And we have a live studio guest who's actually going to be behind the bar for part of the time. I mean, how rare is that? I mean, usually we get you guys to come up and go, oh yeah, this is good, and then they sit back down. He's actually going to make us a drink this evening, so that's pretty awesome.
I didn't know I could come in and not work.
Yeah, no, that's not happening. Nope, sorry, nope. But as always, we start off with a toast. And this evening, I thought I would go ahead and just pull something off the rack. And so we are going to be drinking or toasting with the Faraday's West Indies rum, with connections via Barbados, Dominican Republic, and Martinique. So this is a blend. We've had this before. You can tell we've actually opened the bottle. But I gotta be honest with you, I remember nothing about this rum. So this will be an interesting experience for us.
Your screen is stretched on.
Oh, you look great.
So our special guest is Jon Schott, and we know Jon from a multitude of various bar establishments, but we met him at Tiki on Old Town Tiki,
Old Town
Tiki, where you were working with Alex doing a class on Tiki. Yep.
Yeah, for Old Town Cocktail Week, the first installment of it.
Yeah.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, we had Jungle Birds, because I distinctly remember the Cruzon Blackstrap rum.
Yeah.
And me sort of chuckling at okay, so they just add Blackstrap molasses back in.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I love Blackstrap rum, to be honest. And I'm always and I love a Jungle Bird anyway. So and we're circling back.
Right.
Full circle. How long ago was that now? My God. Oh, right, yeah.
Old Town Drinks.
You can look at the copyright on that and find out when that is.
Was the one who organized the Old Town Cocktail Week.
Right.
And,
Yeah, Alex and I did that class. And you know what was so funny about that class, right? Because
By the way, that disembodied voice you're hearing, that's Jon.
Here, I'll come say hi. And then I'll jump back off stage. I'll come up and get my drink or something.
You will. So Jon will not be joining us with the Faraday rum. And Jon, if you want to talk about that, you can. If not, don't worry about it. He is instead going to be drinking the Ritual Zero Proof Rum Alternative right there, which he brought. And I'm quite interested actually to try this at some point, because I have not.
For the record, because it's a rum alternative, right?
Right.
And so, and myself, I don't consume alcohol anymore, right?
Which, oddly enough, has no impact on his ability to produce really good cocktails, because he is amazing.
I will argue that it made me a much better cocktailer, a much better drink maker.
It certainly didn't make you any worse.
No, it certainly. Thank you. Let me just with the warning that comes with this, right?
Sure.
This is not necessarily the preferred way of doing an alternative. I'm with friends, and that is the preferred way. Drinking with friends, right, and having a good time, cheersing with your people, right?
Sneaky.
But for the record, taking
a
shot, right,
yeah.
and drinking it straight, not necessarily that in line with
Coke
it.
with this, right?
Yeah, I could do a splash of Coke with it.
Yeah,
it's like a little bit of sugar. Okay.
Yeah. There you go. So now we can see the bottom of the star sign, and we can see the tail feathers of the unnamed squid. We just call him the squid, right?
Okay.
As opposed to Beauregard. Right here.
Great name.
Beauregard here, and Aloysius over here. Yep.
I like all the names.
Okay, so what are we going to do? We're going to toast. And I don't generally prepare anything for a toast. While Jon was up, Dunder decided that he needed to take over Jon's chair.
I thought Dunder might have edged out when I sat down, but
no. He just settled in and went, this is just kind of warm.
Yeah.
You have the Coke?
I do. Come on up, John.
Oh, yes. Okay.
This one cold?
Yeah.
It is. It is in fact cold. Excellent. Do you want ice or anything with that? Or?
No, I'm cool. Do you want me to do the can?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is John doing.
I've built a career on this. I feel like now.
I'm gonna stand back.
So this is my favorite. bar trip. I'm like right behind the blowfish hitter. Uh,
I can scoot over. There
no,
we go.
we're cool. So this is my favorite magic trick of all time.
This is also why we have bar mats.
There was zero spill there right now.
I know.
Ah.
Then we'll get the ritual back up in
Yeah.
there. Okay, great.
All right.
Okay. To friends.
Oh,
To
beautiful.
friends, to the hospitality industry, and
Absolutely.
taking care of themselves.
Oh, I love it. Thank you.
Yeah.
And us taking care of them, because we should.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
John
I'll be
did,
honest, in the bar world too. So not only in one thing that I'm doing wrong is maybe taking the shot.
That's
It
actually
would
really
be
nice,
hard pressed to find me going and hanging out at, let's say, regulars, right? It's like a loose term because we're friends.
Right.
But going and hanging out at a regular's house, right? I always tell bartenders, like, never do that because it's like a tricky thing. And it's real hospitality, man. What a cool thing to be at your home bar right now, man. To be over here making drinks with you guys.
Okay,
Alright.
I will say, don't go to a bar twice, strike up a conversation with the bartender, and then invite them over to your home bar.
No,
And
like we're talking about. I've known you all like what a half
Couple years.
decade almost
Yeah,
at this
yeah,
point
yeah.
now to make it seem really intense. About a
Yeah.
half decade almost. I want to say.
I mean,
Close to it.
we will occasionally do that sort of thing when we're traveling, and we're talking rums with the bartender because I've got an extensive rum collection, and so it's like if you're coming to DC,
looking at it, yeah.
yo, come on over and you can sample anything we got. That's a little different experience than
Right.
hey friend, come on over and stand behind
Well, I
me at
always
the bar.
just joke.
right?
If you're a new bartender, you don't go to a second location, right?
Yeah, right,
In the
right.
beginning,
Right.
Just say go to the after bar, but not a second
Yeah.
location.
Yeah.
But with that being said, the one thing I really wanted to touch on, which is what I love about the home bartending, and here we are, right? We're here in your home bar making drinks together, having a good
Well,
time,
not
right?
yet, but yeah.
But how did that happen? Because you're home bartenders, and I'm a professional bartender. We connected because we do the same thing. We like drinks.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing. If you're a home bartender, it's a great way to actually connect, have rapport, and connect with another,
Right.
with
Well,
the
and,
bartender. on
because
the-
I
on
mean,
the
my
spot.
You have something
opening-
to discuss besides give me another.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
My opening for a long time was my husband is starting to do home bartending. What tool should I get him for his birthday?
Love it, right?
And that's a great conversation
I'm not going to be
starter.
cool and
You can be cool. You're already cool.
We're not doing that.
Most definitely.
Okay.
I'm going to add a little Coke, and then I'm going to add a little
What do you got?
exorcism bitters.
Can you put a dash out of my hand?
I absolutely can. There's not a thing out here that you can't have,
I
John.
love it.
I do.
Awesome. Where are those from?
I actually got these in Champaign-Urbana, but I've seen them multiple times since then. One of those where you didn't know something existed and then you see it and then it's everywhere.
Yeah.
That's these guys, Bennett. I've seen Bennett at Ace in the district. as
Okay,
well. Yep.
Nice.
Molasses, peppery, stone fruit. Perfect for, let's see, Negronis, Old Fashions, Manhattans, and Whiskey Sours. Sure.
All the
Negroni's-
big hitters.
Negroni seems a little weird
And then
in that
there's a
mix.
stretch there.
Yeah, yep.
But
So
you
we
gotta.
have some comments.
Uh-oh.
So Keith says,
Are any of them, wow, John's tall?
I know. I'm just getting the squid to the
Keith
head.
says, hiya. Elizabeth, hello. Keith, I should be sipping rum, but I want to finish this wine. Dana, hello, friends. Elizabeth says, what black magic just happened with that Coke can?
It's suction, by the way, and
Yeah.
a little bit of magic, though. You have to believe
Oh,
something.
yeah. And
Um,
Ruth says hello.
Nice.
Excellent, Ruth from Kansas.
Are you about to do your thing? Want to give you space to do your drinks?
Sure, we can.
Yeah.
Yeah. So John's later this evening is going
Yeah.
to do a jungle bird.
Yeah.
He's going to do a different kind of jungle bird. He's
Yeah,
gonna
we're gonna.
do,
Go ahead. No,
He's going to do a
spirit free.
spirit free, right? Here,
Yeah, there's man. You call it a mocktail.
I call it a mocktail.
Yeah,
Yep, yep.
it's a clever name, right? Words are important. I would say
Right,
that, and
right.
mocktail doesn't sound that appealing to me. But again, I'm not about to be picky. We have
Right.
so many alternatives and good drinks available now. So mocktail is cool.
Right.
But a spirit free or
no
NA
ABV.
drink. Low ABV, right? So it's all about mindful
Right.
drinking, right?
Yeah.
And just a shameless self plug for myself though. So mindful drinking, last weekend we got to take part in the Mindful Drinking Festival in DC. It's like the biggest one in the country.
Yeah, did you know there's a mindful drinking festival, like anywhere?
Yeah, this is the biggest one in the country. Really, the first was Derek Brown set it up at the craft beer cellar at DC and Disco Mary collected. But Ritual was sponsored the competition for it, right? And we had 6 bartenders there. It was nice, but I was lucky enough to win that competition as
Awesome.
well. Yeah,
Awesome.
and it was the first competition I ever got to drink.
Yeah.
I made. Yeah, so I'll make you guys a fun drink later, but
So that's just the reason I called Star over was I took a sip of this. I was like, oh man, those bitters in a rum and coke, just a dash of bitters in a rum and coke, and suddenly, wait, that's a clever kind of complex drink as opposed to rum and coke.
that's my favorite simple drink.
Yeah.
Change one ingredient,
Yep.
you know? Add
Yep.
one thing. Yeah, that's the best kind. Are you about to whip up a Jaybird for
I
us?
think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I think,
I'm going to take a break. I'm going to hang with the cats.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
He's gonna hang with the cats.
Yeah.
So if I'm, and I did not do my homework on this one, but if I remember right, the Jungle Bird has its origins back in 1978 at the Raffles Hotel.
It might be like early set, like 73, 74.
But it's Raffles Hotel in Kuala
I
Lumpur.
thought it was an aviary bar in Kuala Lumpur.
You're right, it is, because Raffles isn't in Kuala Lumpur, it's the
Yeah.
aviary. Trust the professional to actually know, right? And when I looked up the recipe on Total Tiki, we were all surprised because it calls for a whopping 4 ounces of pineapple juice.
That's the first one I've seen it call for that much. Sort of like the Jungle Bird started to get into the muddy waters of people's Mai Tai interpretations, right?
But it also could have been. I mean, it's this. If the 78 time period is right, then I mean, all bets are off on like what was in that particular cocktail, right? Yeah, because late 70s, not a good period for cocktails in the country. Not particularly. Okay, so yes, what, Star?
Keith asked,
Keith.
so I can ask for rum and coke with bitters. Will the bartender know what kind of bitters?
Well, the bartender will probably default to Angostura unless you see something else on the bar and say,
I'm not going to be bad at chocolate bitters in a rum and coke.
No.
It's a fun
Walnut.
Yeah. But also, what we just said, right, it's a great way to talk to your barkeep.
hey, I'd like a rum and coke, but I want it a little special. Could you throw in a couple of dashes of bitters? What do you got back there?
Yeah. And
Boom, right?
now you have some rapport, but you also didn't ask anything outrageous either off the bat. That's a good connection.
So, with my Ramos Gin Fizz, can you make that with almond milk instead? Yeah, like, you're out of there. Never order a Ramos Gin Fizz unless it's on the menu, is sort of my rule.
That's a good rule.
Because if it's on the menu, then they're set up to do it. If it's not on the menu, they don't have time to do it, pretty much.
Yeah, but spoken like a true, I don't know, a bar patron, right? If it's not on the menu, like what they're saying on the menu to you too, right? It's communication.
Right.
We do these well.
Right.
We're ready for them.
So we're going to dial back the oomph on the Jungle Bird. And I'm going to do this just as a straight up wet shaken cocktail. Just because it's quick and easy, and I'm going to do it that way because I want to. It's my bar. I can make the drinks the way I want to. After this, we're going to do another Jungle Bird, but I'm going to make this one for Star, who can't stand one of the primary ingredients in a Jungle Bird, which is Campari. So what is in the Jungle Bird? Words
are tough. It's been a long week.
So there's some simple syrup in the Jungle Bird. There's some lime juice. So we've got some fresh squeezed lime juice here. There is Campari. So a bitter Italian aperitif, right? We're going to sub this out with Aperol for Stars, plus a couple of other things. Pineapple juice, and we actually have some fresh pineapple juice here. And then a dark Jamaican rum. Wait, I pulled a dark Jamaican. Oh, right. Okay. We're going to go with the... I mean, it should be dark. This is Hamilton's Pot Still Gold Jamaican. there's no difference between their black and their gold other than the coloring that they put in. They're identical. Ed has said so. He's like, I'm above board. They're the same thing. So I'm not going to worry about the coloration. I'm going to go ahead and use the gold, because otherwise I have to go back over there and dig around to find my bottle of Hamilton Black, which, yeah, we're not doing that. Okay. We're going to go with a 1/2 ounce of the simple syrup. And I know that there is, I don't know, some discrepancy on, or disagreement on, in what order to add ingredients to your cocktail. The general rule is to add your cheapest ingredients first and wind up with your most expensive ingredients. That way you don't dump in your expensive ingredient and then screw something up and have to toss your most expensive.
May I weigh in here?
You absolutely.
So theory, yes, in theory, is correct, right? Because if you have like your bases, right? Usually your base is the liquor that's expensive, and again, Campari, right? It's not cheap.
Right. 1/2 ounce of lime juice, by the way.
But, and that's, yeah, of course, so you don't waste anything and whatever. But that's a lot at the bar too, because like at the bar, I have tickets and I have stuff to do, right? And again, one of the glories of home bartending is like, who the F cares, right? Like, because you can make it the way you want to, because that's home bartending. And like, you're doing it right now. I'm making my Jungle Bird for Star with Aperol because she likes it less bitter, right? And like, that's the joys of home bartending, is in a non-pressure situation, enjoying the drinks, seeing what you like, and equally as important, finding out what you don't like about them too. So when you go to the bar, when the stakes are high, right? The drinks are priced way higher than they are at home. It's a night out. You don't have a lot of time. Well, so you don't have as much time to go out anymore either. Everyone's so busy.
How much Campari?
That was 3/4 ounce
Nice.
of Campari.
But again, so it's great information, which I always preach about, is take that information and take it to the bar, the same as you would take it to your mechanic.
Yeah. Certainly you would not, I would never sit there and watch a bartender mixing a drink and go, oh, he put in the expensive stuff first, in some sort of judgmental way. I'd be like, oh,
you would if you just started home bartending, though. You know,
oh,
I mean,
maybe,
people like,
maybe.
That's how you know when people just started.
The other thing that I do, though, is I will usually use my syrups or any thicker ingredients first, and then throw my citrus in if I'm using the same jigger. And that helps clear out whatever is in that.
Yep.
We are not putting 4 ounces of pineapple juice in this. We're going to go 1.5 ounces of pineapple juice.
They got like a crossover of a painkiller in there or something.
Yeah, it's what it seems like. Because the painkiller is the only thing I know that's got that much pineapple juice in it.
It's absurd.
Right. But it may also be that, we want to use up this Campari, and our patrons won't drink it unless we put it with a whole bunch of pineapple juice, which is really sweet, right? Oh, and by the way, we're going to add more sweetness to that.
Yeah.
Okay, so now the patrons will drink it, and it's pretty, and we're using up our Campari.
You know how they use up their Campari is Garibaldi's at brunch. Orange juice, Campari, make it look really pretty. That's it. That's all it is.
We need 1.5 ounces of a dark Jamaican rum. So we're going to use the Hamiltons. Now, you can do all sorts of things with this in terms of the rum. Like I was saying earlier, the Jungle Birds that we had at the class where John and I met, Dunder has fallen asleep in his lap. Great. Yeah. How cute. You guys used Crozon Blackstrap rum.
Yeah, so again, constraints of Virginia ABC.
I mean, I know a lot of recipes that I see that call for blackstrap rum in the Jungle Bird. And on the variation that I'm going to do for Star, I'm not actually going to use blackstrap rum, but I'm going to swap out the sweet component for a component that has some molasses in it.
Fun.
And we'll do that.
I think the molasses is key to it, though, and that's also what you'll find about the ritual as well. You know, the funny thing about that class...
So again, this is home bar, right? And you can do whatever you want at your own home bar. I actually find that I prefer letting the really heavy hogo of a Jamaican come through. So I will often make this with, like a Hamden Great House or something like that, just because I really want that funk to it as opposed to the blackstrap.
Totally.
Right?
And
And
again, and you know, it's great. It's always good information. What do you got behind the bar with funk to it, right? You know, and the glories of
don't
home
I have?
bartending. But the glories again of home bartending. Change, and I always tell people at home, change one ingredient of the drink at a time, right? And in that case, changing the base, right? Changing the type of rum that you're putting in.
Yeah.
And then look at how much it's already changed. Just one thing, right?
And of course, I'm going to go completely against that when I make Star's cocktail because I'm going to change
I know.
everything all over the place.
But
Not this way, but yeah.
I'm just saying the only way
Yeah.
you can get there, though, is understanding how you changed each one.
Right,
Still,
right.
Because if you change a few in the beginning, you won't know how you got it there.
Yeah. The other way to approach that is if you're going to make a change to it, be intentional about the change.
Thank you.
And if you're not sure what something is going to do to a drink, change that one thing.
Yeah.
If you know what it's going to do to a drink, then maybe you've got a little more wiggle room, right?
Yeah, and if you're at home messing around, like par down your drinks, right? Like in half if you're if you're experiment.
Yeah.
Par that down. Because
Oh, and one other, I know sometimes drinks can be expensive. Don't be afraid to fail, and don't be afraid to just pour it down the drain. There's no reason to drink a bad cocktail.
Yeah, nice shake back there, please.
Want to get some nice froth on this.
Yeah, it's a good shake, man.
Really, like I've never had a problem with the plastic tumbler sticking until now.
Because once it gets cold, though, it's going to get a little bit tight on that plastic, too.
What I like about using the plastic is that sometimes these guys can be a little too rigid and you can't really pinch to break the vacuum. The plastic is like no problem, right? You can always pinch the plastic.
Plastic seems so foreign to me behind the bar. Like I feel like my muscle memory, the weight of it would confuse me. Just because I've been used to like the same things all the time. Cool, bud.
Now, you like to serve your Jungle Bird on ice.
Yeah.
Crushed?
I like it. The pebble ice is
Pebble
really
ice?
cool. But again, like I feel like because I've riffed on Jungle Bird for a while, right? Because there's so many components to it, you know, that you can just change one thing to it, and it's fun. And like, I would always do the thing I like to call bird's nest when I was at King's Handsome all the time, because when I was trying to think of drinks for the first menu, I was sitting there with a bird's nest right in front of me, where my mind went. And the Jungle Bird's a welcoming drink too, which I love. So, could be someone's welcome at a tiki drinks too. But you can serve them. Be intentional with the reason you do it. You can serve it over whatever you feel like, right? If you want to put it over like a big frozen sphere because you just shook it up a bunch, you don't want it to dilute anymore, and you want it to retain that texture on top, and do that. I like being able to put it over like a pebble ice because that's like a pretty good, if I don't shake it so hard, pretty good dilution throughout, and it gets to evolve the whole time too, especially if I have a heavy spice in my base.
Do you find
stick a bunch of garnishes in the top, right? And like have fun.
Do you find that, especially with doing drinks with really bitter components, Amaros, Fernet, those sorts of things, that you want a little more dilution, especially for customers that maybe aren't quite as, I don't know, have that palate that's built up for bitter? Because I think that's a thing, right?
Two different ways I really enjoy dealing.
I might try it, even though it's not my favorite version.
That looks nice.
It's pretty tasty.
It's a good color. Two ways of doing that I like is, I would say the dilution, putting it over ice, right? Like, because if it's too bitter for them in the beginning, like take an Aperol Spritz, right, would be like putting your toe in that pool.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And so, it's the less bitter of the one of your options. Plus, it's over ice, diluted, and then, bathed in bubbles, right? Bathed in bubbles sounds great, by the way. But the dilution, right, makes it.
So you'll notice there's a little bit of foam here And that's pretty characteristic of anything that's got pineapple juice in it.
Yeah, pineapple has that fluffy quality.
My guess is you were talking about doing like a partial dry shake, right?
So if you have really crushed ice, just dry shake it with the pineapple juice. It's not going to work as well in the spirit free when I do, but with the sugar and the rum and then the pineapple juice together, if you just dry shake it and really whip it and then pour it over crushed ice, it'll have that nice frothy top to it, right?
I'm a little surprised
that crushed ice, it'll dilute enough too, where you kind of need it to open up just a little more.
I'm actually a little surprised this doesn't have a little more fluff on it, given the shake that I gave it. But
well, you know why though? It's in that really wide part of the cup too, so the froth really stretched out as well. So sometimes, like I used to think it was a really fun effect putting it in something like a tall Collins glass or something, because then you really see that.
Or like a champagne flute.
Maybe it might get a little tight in there, because then it's like super,
right.
Yeah. But it's fun too. I mean, that's the fun thing. Textures are fun for people. If you get that froth on there, you can also then hit nutmeg or something on top too, and give another layer.
Grab yourself a zombie glass, right?
Yeah.
There you go. Yep.
But to go back to your thing about the bitters too, another way I like doing it as well is just by stark contrast. I'm a huge fan of a bitter float on drinks, especially like something tropical where like I could, if you have all those layers of flavors, right, it at least tricks your brain to allow you to have like open-minded experience to it, right? You didn't just put a shot of Fernet in someone's face and make them whack it back, you know, because there's no escape from what it is. But if you put a little bit of like the Fernet on top of some tropical drink, right, it's a bit of the shock in the beginning, and then the flavors are complementary.
It creates that complexity, right?
Yeah.
I'm getting a flavor, and then I'm going to get another flavor. It's the Queen's Park Swizzle in spades, right? Because if you take and just drop the straw in, then chances are you're going to get, oh, that's very minty.
Right, and
but
people
if you
will do that with the drinks too now, just straw right through.
But I mean, if you take a Queen's Park Swizzle and just drink from the rim of the glass, you're going to hit the Angostura coming up, then you're going to get the combination of rums, you've got the minty syrup down at the bottom because the mint leaves have been muddled. It's a gorgeous drink, and you get all of that coming in as a flavor. Yeah.
And let the drink do what it's supposed to do. Take you on an adventure, take you on a trip, you know?
And part of the reason that those are generally larger format, the Queen's Park Swizzle, I don't know why we're talking about the Queen's Park Swizzle, but a larger format drink, is because it's supposed to evolve over time. And the flavor you have with that first taste is not going to be the last taste you have of that drink. And it's not supposed to.
They're like an Angostura float on a mojito, right? Love it. Right? That's like a quick way to get them into it.
So this is John going with an Angostura float on a mojito. I think I would do one of my typical fruit bitter floats. So
Sure.
I've got some peach.
Not everyone has access to like such a... I'm trying to cast a wide
Okay.
net.
See that bitter collection?
I did. Well, but people who might be dipping their toes into it right now.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, a Peychaud.
Or you can come here, right?
Vibrant topper, too. Because if someone isn't going to be open to the thought of it, though, visually, though, it's striking, and it's like you taste with your eyes first. It's fun.
It looks kind of like an oil slick across the... So I would use a combination of... This is one of my favorite combinations of bitters. Rhubarb, plum, and was it peach? And peach.
Oh, cool.
And it's just this bright, tangy, fruity, but still bitter. You can tell they're bitters, and you're like... And it works so well with tiki bitter, with tiki cocktails. And adorable cats. Oh my gosh, they're so cute.
Oh, right?
It's just curled up right next to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're thick as thieves.
And that's still remarkably good with those exorcism bitters in it. Wow. Okay, so what are we going to do for the second cocktail? We're going to do a variation on the Jungle Bird. It has no name, and I am... Stars Bird. What? No. And we're going to go really strange with this. I am totally disregarding John's advice of only changing one thing here.
Fine.
So, first of all, in order to get that sort of blackstrap molasses element that we don't have with the rum that we were using, I'm going to, instead of using simple syrup, I'm going to use Steens. And Steens syrup, if you remember from the last time we used Steens, I don't even who gave us the Steens. Somebody bought way too much of it and said, "Here, take some of this."
Nice.
It smells like treacle. Like it's just, and it's super sweet and probably only found in the South. And that's what we're going to use to sweeten it up and also provide that blackstrap piece of that. Of course, we're going to use lime juice. So we're going to go ahead and just use fresh lime juice. We're not going to use Campari because Star can't stand this stuff. So we're going to use Aperol.
I remember that from the bar, though.
And yeah, so you've got not quite similar color profiles. The Aperol is actually orange. The Campari is red. The liquor content is different as well, if I remember right. John, do you know offhand?
Campari is like 30% ABV, whereas I think
The Aperol's like 11, 12, something like that. Wait a second.
18% ABV.
Here's the problem. Well, it looks like 11 to me.
Wow.
That's really low, right? I mean, it could be 17 and I just can't see
No,
because
I don't think
I'm old.
11 sounds right.
So it's going to be lower ABV just because of that. There you
Yeah.
go. We need some pineapple juice. Sure, great. We have fresh pineapple juice. We're going to use that. But Star really likes pineapple, and she likes Jamaican rum. So we're going to reach for the Dr. Bird pineapple Jamaican rum. So this is a pineapple infused Jamaican rum that I got her for Christmas. And that's what we're going to do as a lineup for the Jungle Bird this time. John, thoughts?
I think it sounds fun.
Excellent. Let's give this a
I
shot.
think the drink's name needs a little work, though.
Yeah.
Stars Bird?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll come up with the name
Double
of.
star.
That sounds cool.
So we need a jungle bird that has the word star in its name is what we need.
Yeah.
And if only there were people watching that had access to the world's knowledge and could look at those sorts of
Well, you know,
things.
it's oh, nice. You know what's so funny about that, though? That's another one of those rabbit holes that's so fun to go down, though, right? Like, here you are creating a drink, and now you're researching bird names, right? And, like, all this, like, just tangent information and fun stuff that comes with it. I made a gin-based one with this Brockman's gin that was really fruity. And then and
Not the Brockman's rum.
not the Brockman's rum,
Okay.
gin.
Mm-hmm.
And for Campari loves gin. It's the thing in Gin World that comes around every year. And
By the way, this should be a half ounce. The Steens is incredibly thick, so I'm going to loosen it up with
with
half.
some simple.
Yeah. Yep.
And they called it a posh pigeon because I went down that path, and then I found out that there's like budgies or parakeets like in London that are just like there, right? They're just wild London, whatever. But like I would never have known that if I wasn't making a gin jungle bird, right?
Right.
And then I was gonna call it Jingle Bird, and I was like, well, no, it's not the season.
Right.
Anyway, it's fun. It's fun tangent stuff that comes with being creative.
This reminds me, Star, you have news about the gin room, do you not?
Yes. Let me find the exact wording.
What is happening?
So the gin room is a
that
bar.
She got semifinals. That's Natasha's.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
Natasha's.
just Gin World.
Yeah,
Yeah, a fantastic human being.
half ounce lime juice.
Yeah, semifinalist for James Beard Bar.
Yeah.
Best bar.
And not like
more than well deserved.
And not like best bar in St. Louis. No. Best bar.
Yeah, like just best bar. Dude.
Best bar in St. Louis.
Yeah.
That's
And
not.
she's had a busy
I was going to
year.
say
She
that's.
transitioned that restaurant into a whole new thing after.
Uh-oh.
Just an impressive person.
I forgot. There we
Oh,
go.
I heard it.
So I usually have a rule. If you've never seen the podcast.
Rule?
Which is always open your bottles ahead of broadcast. Because plenty of times I've been like, okay, we're gonna switch out to something else. You know? We're gonna go
funny.
3/4 of an ounce of the Aperol. Did you see the steams, by the way, as I was pouring it, and it was just sort of this long, slow pour?
Well, it goes back to what you were saying too about adding some stuff after it so that you can rinse out that jigger a little bit too.
Right. So that's the Aperol. So now we need the pineapple juice. Still go 1.5 ounces of the pineapple juice. And yeah, I could flip the jigger over. I could. Instead, I'm just going to do 2 pours because I'm at my home bar and I'm not dealing with volume.
Here's some news, people. The bar police aren't going to come in and yell at you for it, right?
Well, if by bar police you mean brand new home bartenders, then yeah.
Yeah, whatever though.
And then we're going to go 1.5 ounces of the Dr. Bird. Have you smelled the Dr. Bird?
No, I'll come and take a sniff though.
Yeah.
Although I feel like I just broke that cat's heart by moving.
Oh no, he'll be back. Well, he knows you'll be back, I think is the issue. So let me get the 1.5 ounces in here. So you're familiar with Dr. Bird?
No, please educate me.
So, I don't know what else to tell you about Dr. Bird. Hyper funky, Jamaican rum. So this is Navy strength. Their standard Dr. Bird is also Navy strength, so higher proof, and it's aged in. Is it Muscatel? It's like,
that's funny.
Yeah.
It smells gorgeous, honestly. Like there's just fruity and funky and
right.
It smells like a good time.
It's got that pineapple husk.
Yeah.
Kind of smell to it, which I think matches great with the traditional hogo of a Jamaican rum.
Yeah,
right?
man.
Which sometimes the fruitiness with certain pineapple rums is kind of, it just doesn't really work. I think and you're going to talk about making oleo from pineapple.
Oh yeah, from the pineapple.
Yep.
I didn't know you guys did that so often though, but it's...
So the other, when I was making the lime juice this evening,
I
just, so I've got the lime husks here and the caps that I cut off. We've got a scale there, right? So just make a lime oleo. Yep.
Yeah, perfect for it.
You know what? I think I'm going to take your advice on this one, though. I'm going to do a straight up dry shake.
Okay.
And here's my logic. The Steens is so thick that if I add ice to this and then shake, I run the risk of doing the same thing that, say, honey does. When you throw ice on honey, it freezes. Right?
Oh, yeah.
And normally what I would do, see, you can tell, there's the Steens right there.
Right there.
Yeah.
You're going to have to give that a good whipping.
We have a name
Whip
suggestion.
that bunch, yeah.
Astrobird.
The Astrobird.
Sounds cool. You're getting a workout back there tonight.
As opposed to the night that I did Ramos Gin Fizz.
Oh, goodness. You gotta put that in the blender and start playing this.
Now we're going to add some ice. I need a glass for you.
How many glasses are in your collection of glasses would you estimate right now? May I ask?
Are you...
I'm just curious.
So loaded question, are you talking the sort of the standard barware that we have, which we have a bamboo pattern that I inherited from my parents, that we have like a complete and utter set of every glass type you could possibly imagine.
Awesome. How about the specialty tiki glasses?
Specialty tiki glasses, like the one you're seeing here, right? The Sony glass.
We have 170 mugs in our My Tiki Life collection. Those are...
And how long have you been getting going for?
5-6 years. Then another little trick is to reach over and grab a straw and actually taste this before you give it to anybody.
That is
Right?
a great trick.
You're going to like this. You are definitely going to like this. Different color. Pretty though.
That is a nice looking color.
you know what? Let's do this. There we go. Put that there. Just gonna do a quick spritz. Stick that in there.
Oh, you put an orange zest over the top too.
Serious?
Really bring out the orange of the Aperol.
Is there a straw?
There's a straw.
Who's that a straw
Look,
from?
this is a glass straw, so it's reusable.
Is that like a crown on it?
The top of this is done up like a float,
Oh, wicked.
like a fishing float.
Yeah.
And where do we get these straws from, hun?
Surfside Sips.
Yeah. So we've been getting straws from Surfside Sips for 4
That
years.
thing looks awesome.
4 years, yeah. And I'll let you do what? Oh, no.
20% off with the code Lovecraft.
I'll do this. So Charity was kind enough to bring us some mint from her. Oh my God, her home garden. So I'm going to go ahead and stuff that in there. Not sure how well the mint is going to go. It's a little under aromatic. There we go. There, try that. As opposed to that. Occasionally she makes the stink face.
It doesn't look pumped after
yeah.
that one.
Yeah.
That's a happy.
There we go. There's the happy face. And what is that? That's knowing your audience. Right?
Check out the straw.
It's a wicked glass too, but that straw is something else. It really makes the whole thing pop too.
Yeah.
That's I always think is an important thing too about home bartending as well, is like putting that. It doesn't have to be, say, like a tiki drink or a tropical drink for you to dress it up or have fun with it or put it in a fun glass. You know, like you should, like, drinking's fun.
Yeah.
You know? So like
You know
it
what?
should do it. Even if your drink comes in a can, like pour it in a fun glass, whatever.
You know, I got so stuck making that drink, and I knew that I was going to need to thin out the steins, and I used the simple syrup when my intention was to use the hibiscus tea syrup.
Well,
You said that's what you're gonna do also specifically for
Yep.
the color. Although I'd say the color turned out really great.
yeah.
It's, you know, definitely this has a reddish tint to it, a more reddish or pinkish tint, and hers has a more orange tint, but Aperol versus, Campari, yeah. Now, you could serve this also in a straight up Mai Tai glass.
Sure.
You know, if you happen to have a Mai Tai glass lying around from a place that you helped out by kickstarting their start.
But
So-
it's home, it's home bartending. If you can make the argument for it, right? If you can validate your choice, right? I did it this way because of this. Then perfect, right? And that choice, if you're at home, could be this was the clean glass I had, or the closest one.
I had a jelly jar
Got it.
nearby, right? And I'm a firm believer in I wanted to use this glass. You don't need any more reason than that,
Yeah.
right? Is somebody going to come back at you and say, well, you used the wrong glass for your Mai Tai? Well, only if you're broadcasting.
I will say the only time it's a wrong glass is if I'm working and someone asks me for a manly glass. Then it's wrong.
And then you find the frilliest thing.
But I'm like, I'm out drinking. I want a fancy effing glass. You know, like I want a cool, fun one.
This
Please.
is the Hell and High Water Tiki Bar,
Denver, Colorado.
Denver, Colorado. Salty vibes, Denver, Colorado.
Salty.
Hell or
It
High
is
Water
a
Tiki.
gay pirate tiki bar.
Sounds like a fun night.
So there's the bones on the back, skull and crossbones. Yeah, awesome glass, awesome. Looking forward to using that one at some point. And then when we got back from Inuele, there was another box waiting for us, and this was from Latitude 29. And
It's Brad, Tiki Shark.
right, so this is Brad Parker, Tiki Shark, the same guy that did the. Often I have a banner up here that has the cat playing the ukulele. Yeah, same guy. So this is
You guys have cool stuff.
This is a blue nautilus shell, and it's got tentacles coming up all around the Nautilus shell on the back end. And of course, you've got the designed by Brad Parker 2022 on the bottom. And this is actually one of the things I like about this is that all too often the custom mugs these days are massive. They're like, here, 36 ounces worth of liquor. And it's like, it's a great mug. It looks awesome. There's fantastic detail in it because it's huge and you can do the little detail on it. Doing a smaller format mug, and this is by no means a small mug.
No,
I mean, here.
I think by nature mugs aren't necessarily small.
Yeah, I just poured all of this in here and it's 2/3 of the way up, right? So this isn't small by any chance, but it's definitely smaller than, say, the cargo of the Damned mug that I showed off last week, which is, well, kind of huge. All right, so what have we done? We've done a variation of the standard Jungle Bird. We've done a standard Jungle Bird. And I think it's probably time to, yeah, I think it's time to turn over,
really cozy with the cat.
turn over the reins to John.
Hi, also, Courtney's out of town, so I'm just getting comfortable. I got nothing to do at home. I was really tucking in there.
So we need a shout out to Courtney.
Oh, yeah, Courtney's the most awesome person in the world. Courtney's
Well,
my person. I mean,
mean-
I think I have. Sorry, but you know.
Most awesome person in the world is sitting right there.
I know.
You know,
Fair
yeah,
enough.
fair enough.
I'm in the house, but yeah, Courtney's my person, and she also used to. You guys met her through at People's a long time ago. And
Didn't we meet her? Did she come by at the thing we did for Carpenter Shelter?
I believe she did. Yeah, and then she also just did, but she was a big part of. We were just at the Virago. Well, but we were at Virago in. Courtney and I were at Virago in December, and we did
gonna hit you.
Yeah, well, I got it. I'm used to. If I had a nickel for my head hitting stuff, because now I'm here and I'm right in front of the pufferfish.
You know what we can do?
Oh, maybe switch.
How about that?
Oh yeah, look at
What
that.
do you think? Whoa,
Man, I feel like I'm like in your spot. I feel like, oh my goodness. But yeah, Courtney and I did the takeover at Virago Distillery, which was super cool,
Nice.
right? And then we raised like $1,200 for.
And what does Virago do?
Virago
What's
makes
their specialty?
rum. They make rum. They make it on a beautiful cognac still too. They're one of only 4 distilleries in the country to have that. And it's got that beautiful long arm on it that makes that rum kind of. You know what they just had come out too is a white rum with a little touch of funk on it. That's really great for daiquiris.
Nice.
And at $19.99 a bottle, and for what it is,
Yeah.
you can't beat it. Great distillery, and a really cool gin there too with oolong tea. Yeah.
I mean, despite appearances, you don't need to have an extremely expensive bottle of rum to make a really good cocktail.
No.
I mean, so, you know, I'm going to go off and I'm going to find some, like, rare bottle of Grogu or something and have an ultra funky daiquiri. That doesn't mean that I want an ultra funky daiquiri every day of the week.
No, and those daiquiris have their place at the special
Yep.
place, right? But I think at the same time, what's clever, right, is like, know why the stuff is good or why it tastes like that. You know what I mean? And people, just because it is a price point, right? Like, I remember people like scoffing at like a low price point and an unappealing label of a spirit, like an old Overholt Bonded, right?
Right.
It's a great rye, man.
It is.
And it's a great rye for cocktails,
It's
right?
great rye. It's cheap.
Yeah.
It's like under $20. Yeah.
I think it's like $25 now.
Is it?
The Bonded certainly is.
Okay.
But it used to be the only thing in town. But you'd look at it and go, oh, it's some grandpa's thing
Yeah,
or
I mean,
whatever.
it looks like...
It doesn't do any favors.
The graphic designer, you know, was old when Marlboro was still allowed to advertise on TV, right?
For the record, I have an old Overholt Tiki shirt that's hilarious. It's his grumpy face, like all over the place. It's awesome. It is a little snug on me these days, so I didn't wear it.
COVID has made a lot of things a little snug on us
Yeah,
these
it's
days.
a little snug on me, man.
Yep.
Okay, so let me get to the drinking, right?
Yeah,
And drinking, right? We're talking about spirit alternatives.
And I'm going to bring these up so that you've got them right here.
Okay,
instead
cool. So talk about a few things. We're going to talk about a few things. What's up?
Oolong tea gin sounds yummy.
Yes, Virago Modern Gin.
Okay.
You can get it at the ABC stores, and I believe you can also, if you live in Virginia, you can certainly order it direct through them on their website as well. And also, super, super cool, right? one of the coolest tasting rooms you can go to, right? I
Okay.
love going. I love going to the tasting room. They have a beautiful, full mural all the way around the whole
Nice.
tasting room. Really fun settings, good hospitality, great drinks, really good staff. And it's always fun to sit there and sip on it, and then you can just see where it was. There's some certain feeling about seeing where it's made.
Don't you hate though you've done a tasting, right? You've tasted their spirits. The spirits are all good. You'll like the spirits. You're drinking the spirit, and you're thinking all the cool things I can do with it.
Yeah.
You walk into their cocktail tasting room, and it's like they've given no thought to the cocktails. They're like, you are not doing
It.
Yeah, it's just like, oh.
I don't want to be negative, right?
Right. I can.
But it is an unfortunate thing that I think I see a lot of, right? And I'm like, in Virginia, we're lucky enough to have a bunch of places, really good ones, right? And people I've been partnering with lately to do that as well, too. Virago really, like, you wouldn't ever think that, you know what I mean? To get in there, what a cool spot.
This was not meant to imply that Virago.
Oh, no, I know,
I'm just saying, you've been there.
But
You've been
you are not wrong where you say, man, we just got so excited and invested and enthralled in this product, right? And
as a home bartender, I can't just go, hey, give me 10 minutes behind the bar, and this is what you should be serving.
No, it's such a shame that the place, if they don't have a cocktail program to match, like all that hard work and time that went into it, right? Like, and for me and you as bartenders, right? We're lucky. The hard work's been done.
Yeah.
Boom, we get a bottle, right? We just now need to know what's in it and how to use it. And it's like, I'm so appreciative the hard work's been done.
Right. But you have that, like, the creative juices are flowing. You're thinking all the cool things I can do with this. And, here's a really mediocre Manhattan.
Oh,
it's
so,
like, what the...
And what a shame for the product, too. You know what I mean? What a shame for all the things involved. Even the glass.
All you distillers out there with tasting rooms, actually put time and effort into making the cocktails.
Yeah. And if you need help with it, you can always hire Riff Raff Drink Company.
If only we knew.
Shameless.
If only we knew people that were consultants on cocktails.
Right?
Weird.
That's why I have the greatest job in the world. And it's fun to work with distilleries because you just could be right there. It's a certain thing. It's like it's being made right there. And the best thing I think I've had about consulting, right? How do I, someone has worked super hard and they have a dream for something that they want to pop and shine, and I get to come in and put a nice spin on it and let it do that for them, which is rad.
Now, do you ever do, when you're doing that consulting, it's like, all right, here's what you could do. Here is your spirit in a standard Manhattan. Here you go. This is, here's what I could do to make your spirit shine, and do that kind of comparison.
I think that there's a lot of it. Everything
this is me asking because I want to know.
Well, everything is unique, right? And every space is unique too. So, what is a bar? Because it's a bar, right? Even the tasting room is. So, your community's needs are the first thing, right? What is your community's needs? What are the people coming in and asking for? Because if it's like a shot and a beer and not Manhattans, you're doing a great disservice to do that, right? And a shot, it has to hold up. It's a neat pour, right? But I think there's a lot of argument to be made about let's make it in a Manhattan because people can compare that to other Manhattans, right? And so it's okay, I noticed that this was better, right? And that's a really nice thing to be able to do that. Whereas, if I made a drink that was say the one that we just riffed off of one, but say if I made a drink and they say you can only get it at the distillery, right? It might not sell a lot of bottles at the store, and that's at a distillery. Someone should want to be able to get it and get a Manhattan at home too, and not have to do all the hard work. So show them that it's good in a Manhattan, but make them come to the tasting room to get the one that they can only make at the tasting room too.
Right. Whether that's using a special bitters or something along those lines.
Exactly. Yeah.
And always have in your back pocket, if you're using a special bitters to make that cocktail, where can I get that special bitters? Oh, well, you can get it from our friends, Eric Kozlik.
Another awesome person. Right.
Yep.
So let's
again.
it's a great plug.
I'm gonna step out.
Well, I might need you as a bar back, to be honest.
Sure, I'll let you know where things are. Right.
Grab a shaker tin. There's a jigger there.
Do you prefer the Japanese style?
I do prefer the Japanese style, but I'll work with whatever. All the tools are fine.
Okay.
I've worked with, not great stuff before. Is there a cheater pint somewhere, like a small, or the plastic? Okay.
I'm gonna make you use the plastic.
That's cool. All right, awesome. So, a few things real quick about what we are making right now. And then the simple syrup, which was...
It's to your left, right next to the pineapple.
Okay, cool. All right, so just a few things we've got working here, right? So we're making a...
Jigger.
Thank you. We're making a spirit-free Jungle Bird, right? So Jungle Bird I really dig because we talked about the history of it a little bit earlier, but it is a welcoming drink. That was the intent, right? You get to a hotel and they throw the lei on you and they give you a cocktail or a drink, right? And it's just setting the tone for a good time, right? And it's a welcoming drink. It's also fun because you got a bitter component in the drink. Mm-hmm. You don't see that as often in tiki drinks, maybe like bitter, like layers now, but like from the 70s, right? You wouldn't have expected this kind of a thing to come out of, right? Yeah. Which is cool. So it's a welcoming drink, right? So maybe for some people, this is welcoming them to the spirit alternative world, honestly, or seeing that there's maybe different ways of making the drinks, right? So one thing with the spirit alternatives, like I'm using a rum alternative made by Ritual tonight, and I'll talk about that in a second, but they're really great for cocktails, is the important part. Great vessel for a cocktail. We talked about it before, drinking's supposed to be fun. Mm-hmm. Cocktails are fun. The glass where you put it in, the way it's made, and the great thing about a cocktail too is that like something that took some time to make, some thought and consideration, right? And you feel that something's made with love, right? So, cocktails with the spirit-free stuff,
or at least lust.
Yeah, at least something, right?
At least
something that makes you feel, right?
If it's made with hate, you should go to a different bar.
Yeah, well, for sure, and you can taste that, So. The spirit-free alternatives are typically without any sugar or very, very low amounts of sugar, right? So if you're familiar with distillation, which we're not like side tangenting off into, but fermented sugars, and we have ethanol, right? Mm-hmm. Fantastic. So a lot of times it's reverse distilled or something, in the case of Ritual, made without any alcohol in it ever, right? So on the palate, more like tea, right? Because spirits have that weight and body and texture to them. So I really encourage people to taste them in drinks too, and not necessarily to be taking like shots of it, right? But you'll find that there's like what you'll see in there is that you'll get vanilla to like replicate barrel,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You'll have heat in there from capsaicin, right, which would be like the seeds, and peppers. And you'll also get spice in there too, and molasses as well too.
This reminds me of root beer.
Certainly, right? Some sarsaparilla, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it goes into a drink that's really nice too, right? When you're making spirit-free drinks, mocktails, NA drinks, NWAs, not with alcohol. That's a fun one.
Apparently he's a fan of the group, so...
Well, I'm just, you know what? It actually just makes it like, I'll have an NWA. It makes it sound kind of like badass a little bit, right? Where I'm not used to having that reception when I'm ordering a spirit-free drink that is badass like ever. Ooh. So you can see it has a lot of potential in mm-hmm. drinks, right? And if you want to use them to their favors, just a quick side tangent. A rum toddy, right, and hot water really opens it up. Super tasty.
Yeah, this would definitely make a nice toddy. I will say, you're getting the heat from the capsaicin. So
sure.
If anybody is at all sensitive to heat, be careful on how you use this. This would not be something I would give to her. She's got a capsaicin allergy, so...
And that's really important and when you're looking into spirit alternatives, what they are. And it also goes to show, too, that, like, what I always try to tell people, one of my favorite clients, and who I do a ton of work with, is my friend Sam at Umbrella Dry Drinks. And she's down there on St. Asaph in Arlington, I'm sorry, in Alexandria,
yeah.
Wherever we are, but in Old Town Alexandria. And So all spirit alternatives, wine, beer alternatives as well too, right? But when people come in, it's not necessarily like there's just like this vegetarian burger, right? Like exact replacement of like the thing that they had. And a lot of the places aren't necessarily trying to achieve that either. They're just saying, this is another thing you can do. When you were learning what drinks you liked, it took a while too, right? So when you're trying these things, you might have to try a few things, right? It's important to know. So Jungle Bird, right? Again, we mentioned it's like that sort of like a similar texture of like a tea. So when you're making the spirit-free cocktails, we're talking about balancing our drinks, right? Like balancing your sweetener, your acid, and your base, right? And your bitters. You can feel free to add a little bit more of the sugar because it still stays in balance because there's typically none in the base.
Right.
And it gives it the texture and it gives it the added body and weight too. The one thing I'll be really wary about is adding your acids, right? Your citrus, especially you're squeezing fresh lemon and lime right there. They tend to really pull through. So I sometimes dial back a 1/4 ounce on my acids.
Okay.
In a drink like this, and that would be in like a daiquiri or a sour, right? In a drink like this, there's a lot of components. I can feel free to just put them all in there.
Okay.
So that's why I like drinks like an Old Cuban, right? Or like this Jungle Bird, right? Complex drinks do really well for it too. It also does well for your brain that there's so many things happening to allow you to like experience it, right? So I'm going to do 2 ounces for this. Because drinking is fun, right? And the full 2 ounce pour. And then I'm using, so this is the Ritual Rum alternative right here. And then this is so like my replacement for my Camparis or Aperols, right? And there's a bunch of options for these. This is Dose, which is DHOS, and it's a bitter rhubarb. I like this one a lot. I like it for spritzes. I like it for, cocktails as well. And I think the other, just like with Amari, right, and vermouth, fortified, aromatized wines, right, you should always be able to drink them on their own or in a spritz or over ice, right? So this one does well for that too. 3/4 ounce. Cool. And then we're going to do a 1/2 ounce of our simple, which I believe this one is a 2-to-1.
This is actually, it's very similar to Campari in some ways. It has that little bit of tannic, almost like you're chewing on a rind, on a citrus rind.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have that punchy.
It doesn't have that last punch of it,
right?
no. But it's tasty.
Oh, it's quite tasty. It also, the texture is...
Is that the Dose Bittersweet?
Yes.
Is that which one it is?
Okay, and then there's also a Dose Orange, which I like for mixers as well, too. Like, as mixers, I recommend those.
Okay, cool.
And that's all I'm saying. Lime juice, 1/2 ounce. This is super... Oh, before I pour any of it, right? So this is super juice, man.
Yeah.
It's 1 lime. So if you're looking at the side there, there's the... so it's like 8 ounces.
Great. And I squeezed like 6-7 limes to get the 4.5 ounces that I got.
Yeah, it was a big lime, to be fair, but still, it's silly, right? So we talk a little bit about like sustainability, and it means all sorts of things, right? And it's thrown around a lot. Like a big thing for me is sustainability, right? Not drinking anymore. Like for me, that makes me sustainable, right? And it's like no joke. That's another way to look at it, right? And so it makes me look a little bit into like what are some other ways, because I've been super, wasteful for. So anyhow, super juice. Also, think about juicing all the time, right? Like in restaurants, I gotta beat my hands up, right? Even through gloves. And you go through so much citrus, right? And a lot of times, like you're saving yours, Pooch, over here in the bag, right? Which is awesome, man. So awesome. Because a lot of people wouldn't do that, right? And there's still a lot of good going on there, right? Yeah. So in restaurants all the time, we're juicing and just chucking out these shells and husks, right? Like you can use.
This is going to go to make lime oleo or a lime cordial, essentially.
Which is awesome, right? So essentially what you're doing with the super juice, if you're not familiar, folks, is you're zesting your citrus first, and you're making an oleocitrate, right, which is like an oleosaccharin, which we'll talk about a little bit, but replacing it with acids. So with the lime juice, I'm doing a 2-to-1 citric to malic based on the weight of the peels, and letting it sit for like 2 hours, and then mixing it with water, and then putting the juice in and blending.
So is the total acid equal weight to the peels?
No, there's
It seems like
you
seems
can
a
actually
lot.
it's like it seems like a whole bunch. If you go to Super Juice Calculator, like his name is Kevin Koss, I believe, but if you just go to Google and type in Super Juice Calculator, you can just plug in the weight of your zest, and it will then do the math for you, which is great. But if you're a home bartender, tinker with it a little bit, have fun with it.
And you're combining the malic and the citric because that's a closer approximation to the acid content of a lime, whereas using malic strictly or citric strictly would be closer to a lemon.
Yeah, so malic you can just do if you wanted to double up, or because it's like a 2-to-1 citric to malic right now for the lime juice. The drying kind of effect is what that does too. The malic acid is like tip of your tongue kind of a feel of it. You could still do it with the citric acid, right? Just not right there, right? Also for a home bartender, what I think is great about this too, like there's a lot of like applications for work, right? Like bars, like saving a lot of money, right? Because this is going to be good. I put the juice in it. If you don't juice it, you could just mix the water and zests, right, and your acids, and let it sit for like 2 weeks. I'll just squeeze the juice in it too, and it might cut that shelf down to like a week.
But you're still talking a week as opposed to throw it out at the
and
end
it's
of
one
the night.
lime, right? So if I'm making a bunch of drinks that night, like what is such a deterrent? How much am I juicing, right? Like what's the work? Like home bartending is difficult. So that's the super juice.
You're still having to zest the entire lime, but yeah.
I found the
be quick, son.
calculator and I linked it in the comments.
Yeah, it's super helpful. Let's go 2 ounces. I'm just balancing this, right? If you're following the recipes before, like a lot of the recipes were calling like a 1.5 for the rum base, right? And it was a 1.5 pineapple. Just 2 to 2. Make a bigger drink. And then, do we have a big piece of ice and then a glass to put it in?
So I have some cubed ice here.
So,
There's cubes.
lovely.
Do you want a big, like a solid block?
No, I was going to use that to shake it up. I'm going to shake it with the big cube.
Let me go get the.
And then I need a glass to pour it in with ice, and that's
Great.
it.
So what kind of glass do you want? You want another like zombie glass, like Starhead?
Yeah, I think a zombie glass would be
So
red.
if we just open this up right here.
Oh, goodness.
So this is from Archipelago.
Oh, wicked.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will go get you
Now we're talking.
a large cube.
Man, I feel the pressure of no pooch, no star. I'm behind this by myself. Ah!
Just you and the squid.
This squid and I have had some interactions with my head. It's a nice setup you guys have back here, though.
So it's fresh out of the freezer, so it's got some frost on it.
That's cool.
So relatively large stuff.
Yeah, that's work. That'll work. Thank you. All right, so I'm just shaking up with one big cube. I like to do that. Does a nice texture for the drink typically, and I really want to be careful about like how much. I want to be careful about how much dilution I'm doing because again, I don't want to lose the texture. I want to make sure I take the temperature down, dilute it a little bit. But again, when I'm shaking, the most important thing I'm looking for is the texture. Is there a Hawthorne strainer? Dope. All right, awesome. Thank you. I feel lost back here. So again, it looks like we got some really nice froth on top here. Oh man, might have to pour a little bit of this out here.
Shucks. Oh darn. You mean I get a taste?
Yeah, because this is what I want right here is the... Oh, yeah. Right there. So the texture on top.
Got nice foam across the top there.
Yeah. So again, that's a nice, yikes, that's a nice, sorry. I'm like taking a step back to look at it and tripping on the bar. But again, just the big cube does a nice job. Like if I'm shaking a drink, I want to make sure like texture is the most important thing, then dilution and then temperature. And there we go. We have a, thank you, friend.
Plastic.
Thank you. The plastic did fine.
Yeah.
And then I'd like to, try to jazz it up. Pineapple leaves, by the way, splash. Pineapple leaves do a really good job in your fridge or freezer. And if you want to save space, you can pull them out and put them in like a wet paper towel and sit them in your fridge. But if you just kind of chop the top off the pineapple, fun. It'll sit in there really nicely. And that is a super fun drink.
If you want, there's the remainder of that large cube. So it's about half
Yeah.
the size that it was previously.
Yeah, so if you're taking a look at it, and again, if you're home bartending, like I have no problem in my house putting this back in my freezer in an ice thing that I have, and then reshaking something with it later. Like, and that's home bartending, just to be clear. Just to be ultimately clear. And that's like me, that would be me and just my partner, right? Like, but again, if you're shaking a drink and like you didn't drink out of it, you can reshake it, whatever. But at home, one of the issues is what? Making ice sometimes, so like you don't have to keep wasting all your stuff. Sometimes a little bit of nutmeg on top is fun for that. Oh, hello.
Some nutmeg. There you go.
That's fun. Yeah. Okay. So like
what
a
else
little
would
bit
you
of
like? You need a straw, don't you?
a straw would be fine. But again, like you could drink it like right off the top of it too, because like, you get like the spice and the texture. But that's a fun drink right there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to try it? Because
Yeah.
you should be like the.
Let me stick a straw in there.
Oh, I recognize those pins.
Do you?
I recognize a bunch of pins back here, actually.
So here is another Surfside
Oh,
Sips,
wicked.
right? So again, glass straw. This has just been crimped multiple times to give it the look of bamboo, which is a great look for any tiki cocktail.
Yes,
right?
it's really cool looking straw, man. I love it.
Let me do the. I'm going to stick the straw in there, but let me do a. Let me get the froth.
Get in there, yeah. Get frothy.
Oh, that is good. Oh man.
So you can feel like this. It's a good base. You can feel the heat and spice, and you still get the a bit of the vanilla too, like a bit of barrel, if you will.
I'm gonna have a sip.
Yeah. Wait, with the allergy though, we can't say.
It's a sensitivity.
Okay,
Yeah,
got it. Just making
I probably
sure.
won't like
That was
it.
the first time I'm invited here. Like that.
She's anaphylactic shock, right? No. You can tell the capsaicin's going to come in, but there's a definite root beer element to that.
There is
Yeah.
a root beer element to that.
You want a sip of this to.
Well, one of my favorite things ever too is a rum root beer float, or what I do like a Romaro float, like do a split of rum and Amaro with vanilla ice cream and root beer. Delicious.
I mean, in college, and everybody's drinking rum and cokes, and I'm like, you want to experiment around, and I found that like a cream soda and rum is really fantastic because the vanilla notes of the cream soda just match so naturally with the rum.
You know, a grown-up version of it, do a cream soda reduction and make like a rum old-fashioned with it, with like maybe like a lemon on it. Yum. So that's it. That's the spirit. That's the spirit-free alternative. And the nice thing to like the sustainability thing is fun. The lime is fun. But I think the fun thing to think about, right, is like alternatives, right? Because in the week, right, or like whenever, it depends what your schedule is. It depends what you're going through, like whether someone is on medications or right, or having to change up on things. So you might not want to drink, right? And now there's actual good alternatives, right? Like that you wouldn't years ago, like even a couple years ago, even see something kind of looking like this necessarily, right?
Right.
And I know because I don't drink, right? Like for 6.5 years, man. And like I'm getting coffee and ginger beers at bar, right, or soda. But like, it's nice that you can like in the week change it up, right? Or even again as a home bartender, like maybe you're changing up your bitter, you're putting this in, right? And it's like kind of making it a lower ABV situation, putting or swapping the rums, or again, split bases, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Split bases make a lot of sense for that. Do a 3/4, 3/4, or 1/1.
Right.
And you
Don't
still have the
forget the
nuances.
ability. I mean, for those of us that do imbibe,
Yeah.
maybe you don't want to have every one of your drinks be alcoholic.
No, exactly.
It's a marathon, right?
Right,
I mean, it's not a sprint; it's a marathon. So, like,
And,
I'll have a really
you know-
nice alcohol-forward drink, and maybe I'd like to have something a little different, a little lighter and
Totally.
cleansier, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So we've got 3 different jungle birds. We each have our own. And cheers.
Oh, cheers, everybody.
As we want to say, to each their own.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, they're all right. Well, it's a fun time. Thanks for having me on here. I'm not drinking. You guys already had it, so I'm sorry.
You're gonna pass.
I'm gonna pass.
Yeah.
But man,
Can I make another one for you?
I can make one.
Yeah.
I'll whip one
I'll
up.
make
real
it
quick.
offline.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
What a good time, man. Sorry. Yeah. What a fun time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Tiny little space here.
I know. I'm just worried about crushing everything like in a
Yeah,
Godzilla
so
movie.
this is less steady than I would want it for my ice, but it's all right. It's fine.
That's a
It works
great
for me.
setup back here. Not to brag, I'm like very much known for breaking stuff. So.
So we'll set that one aside so that I can actually reach over and hit the and notice how the menu
Really
holder
nice
is
sign.
doing a wonderful thing here, preventing my brand new laptop from getting
I was
destroyed.
like that was. I was like that was by design.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so we're gonna close out with the usual closing, which at this point I think we've decided the end is nigh is going to be the closing epitaph for Lovecraft Cocktails. So thank you for tuning in for 145.
Hey.
I have no idea what 146 is going to be, but it'll be something. We'll be here. Unless we aren't, in which case we'll be broadcasting from somewhere else. So the end is nigh. Let's. Oh, that's right. I always have to be drinking as we go off camera, right? That's how this works. So we'll go ahead and hit that and hit end.